Good evening. I am actually incredibly excited to be here, so thank you for inviting me to tell you about this initiative that we call Whitney. You've heard my background, and so it won't surprise you to know that at some point you turn around after many years in your career in technology and you realize that not only are you one of very few women sitting in the room, but as a senior leader at a big corporation like Verizon, part of your job is to look downstream and see who's coming up behind you. It was pretty startling to see firsthand the few number of women that were coming up the technology ranks and that would be the leaders of tomorrow. And so there are many ways to look at this data, but this is a nice, simple chart that's, to my view, hard to call anything but startling. And it basically shows the increase of women in a variety of fields. This shows medical school, law, the physical sciences, so things that we would consider the STEM disciplines, all on the rise over the last 20 to 25 years, with the sole exception of computer science, where we've seen nothing short of a dramatic decrease in the participation of women. This is remarkably surprising when you consider what we all know intuitively, which is that the job market asking for requiring technology disciplines like computer science has been exploding over that time frame. So you can pick any one of these statistics. They're all, in my mind, equally as remarkable. The statistics all say that in the next couple of years, we're only going to be graduating about 50% of the needed tech workforce in this country. So we have a significant workforce issue. This decline in the participation of women in computer science is happening at the same time that the percentage of women getting undergraduate degrees has been on the rise. Statistics are now about 57% of the undergraduate population are women, close to 60%. If you look at the STEM disciplines, which is normally what you hear talked about, we need more diversity in STEM, we need more women in STEM, which I presume you know stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. The only discipline in which the participation of women has been going down is in the T, in the technology, in spite of the fact that more than 2/3 of the job growth in the STEM disciplines is in that area. So, you can look at it and ask ourselves, why does this matter? And I think there are four main reasons. One is just the pure workforce issue. We just don't have enough, we're not graduating enough tech workers to fill the jobs. And if you look at the numbers, it's actually hard to imagine how we can solve that problem if we are literally leaving half of the available talent pool sitting on the sidelines. If you look at the national data, we could solve this workforce problem easily if just a few more percentage points of the undergraduate women would pursue degrees in technology-related disciplines. Two, we all know the facts of diversity. Teams with more diverse members produce better results, better innovation, have better ROI, and so on. So from a corporate perspective, and I'm sure you know, every company, every tech company is desperately trying to get better diversity in their tech ranks, and gender diversity in particular. But it's also an economic fairness issue, because the best paying jobs are in tech. The highest paying job in the New York tech market is application developer, and 85% of those jobs are held by men. The lowest paying job in the tech sector in the New York area is as a lab technician, and 65% of those jobs are held by women. Okay, so there's something wrong with this picture. And last but not least is we need a diversity in leadership. There have been many articles written showing that if you have non-gender diverse teams, especially as leaders, you end up with suboptimal results. There was just an article a couple of weeks ago called in the New York Times that said AI's got a white guy problem, showing actually that the algorithms that get developed by non-diverse teams end up having suboptimal results. So there are a lot of reasons why this matters. So So begat Whitney, which is a pretty unique public-private partnership between corporations in the New York market and two flagship academic institutions, that being Cornell Tech and the City University of New York. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about the partnership between CUNY and Cornell Tech, but the initiative is funded by a number of companies that you see there, all of which have a vested interest in the New York tech market, as well as in diversity in their tech workforce. So, what are we trying to accomplish? We have three main goals. The first is to increase the number of undergraduate and graduate women that are actually pursuing degrees in tech-related fields. The second is to increase the graduation rate, so they actually make it through the pipeline, because the attrition rate right now, even for those who start out in their freshman and sophomore years studying these kind of fields, is very high. And the third, and equally as important, is to create a sense of identity and belonging amongst these women. Because there's been many studies shown that even those women that have the interest and the passion to pursue these kinds of fields feel like they don't belong. And there's both explicit, he agrees, explicit and implicit bias and so on that goes on. But what happens if you have a very weak sense of, do I belong here, is that even if you make it through into the workforce, the attrition rate for women in technology in the workforce is 50% within the first 10 years. And those women are not retiring, and they are not deciding not to work. They're going into other fields because they don't like the culture in the tech field. So there's a lot about changing the nature of the culture in order to solve this problem as well. Two basic goals in how we're going to attack this. One is to cast a wider net, meaning in the early undergraduate years, get more young women who are willing to take that first step, take that first course in something that they may have thought they would never be interested in. And then, of course, to make that course interesting and compelling to them. And the second is to plug the leaks. Look at all of the reasons why women may express an interest and then drop out, move into other fields for one reason or another. Now we know that it is ideal to start as early as possible, and I know you're very familiar with the K-12 program that Cornell Tech has been running for many years under the leadership of Diane Levitt, and Diane and I work hand in glove with each other. The idea here was to say a couple of things. One is there's 4 long years in between the time the kids graduate from high school and they make it into the workforce. And so there are programs needed to make sure that if they're lucky enough to have gone to a school or a program that's gotten them turned on to this, that they actually stick with it and make it through to the workforce. But the other is, not everybody goes to one of those schools. And your freshman and sophomore year in undergraduate school is the time when you're supposed to take all these wonderful courses and get turned on to things that you never in a million years would have imagined. I don't know how many kids graduate high school saying they want to be anthropology majors. But we all went to college and had to take that intro to anthro and sociology and philosophy. And some percentage of us said, wow, that was really great. I think I'll keep going. And that's all we need. All we need is a few percentage of those undergraduate women to get exposed to this kind of area of study and career, and stick with it, and we'll have essentially moved the ball in a significant way. So the programs that we have are in 3 key areas: curriculum, career, and community. Curriculum is about reimagining the undergraduate curriculum at the City University of New York in a way that casts that wide net, and also curriculum around grabbing the girls as they're emerging out of high school and on their way to CUNY. There are scholarships and fellowships associated with incenting them to take up this field of study. Career programs have to do with internships. So we have 30 women from CUNY placed in internships around all of those companies that you saw on the previous chart. And we'll be increasing that year over year. And the community piece is, as I said, all about creating a network of these young women so that they get to know each other. They get to know executive women who can give them exposure to different kinds of careers, and they in turn can serve as role models for women that are younger than them. These three areas have been shown in places that are working on this in other parts of the country to be the three key programmatic areas that can actually move the needle. So it is this partnership between Cornell Tech and CUNY. Whoops, that's okay, you can see it. That is so exciting and so unique. Because Cornell Tech has in its very DNA, of course, the spirit of innovation and innovation in academia, of trying new things, of piloting them, iterating on them, and so on, especially around the kinds of skills that are needed in the digital age. And what CUNY has is incredible scale, as I'm sure you know. CUNY has 250,000 undergraduate students, 136,000 women. So if you can move the needle a few percentage points, specifically 3 or 4 percentage points amongst that female population, we could be pumping 4,000 to 5,000 women in technology into the New York market. And the other thing about CUNY students is they stay in New York. They're from New York, they go to CUNY, and they stay in New York. So they would actually enter the workforce. So we have this unique opportunity. We are leveraging it right now in this glide path between kids coming out of high school and on their way into CUNY in the form of something we call the Summer Studio, which starts next Monday. We have 40 rising freshman girls from the New York school system that have been accepted to and are going to CUNY in September. And they're going to come to Cornell Tech for 2 weeks, and they're going to be taught Cornell Tech's innovative studio curriculum, which you may or may not have heard of, but it is one of their flagship innovations, is how to teach their students about entrepreneurism, product design and development, and brainstorming and prototyping and so on. And we're taking that very curriculum, that innovation that's happened at Cornell Tech, and we are exposing it, we are teaching these young women about it in 2 weeks, all in the context of a real business challenge. We'll be sending them out into the field, they'll talk to real customers, they'll come back, they'll work with developers, they'll code up their ideas, and just a couple of weeks later, they register for class. And the idea is to get them jazzed up, turned on, a little bit of swagger, so that when they walk in the doors their freshman year, just a few weeks later, maybe they will sign up for that Intro to CS class. It's the connection to the startup community and the community at large that Cornell Tech has established that we would like to expose these young women coming out of high school and on their way into college. And this whole idea of iteration. We pilot a program, we piloted a new Intro to CS class in January, see what works and doesn't work at CUNY, and then let them roll it out, because that's the scale. To operate at that kind of scale. So I'll skip that. The big picture is to actually have a real impact on the New York tech workforce, to move the needle, and better yet, to have New York known as the destination. If you're a woman interested in studying or pursuing a career in technology, New York is the place to come. Cornell Tech is the place to go for graduate school. CUNY is the place to go to undergraduate school. New York is the place to make your home. So, with that, we're happy to take any questions.